What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Hey, it's Monday. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm glad that you're here right now and we're all together. Looking forward to this new week. Looking forward to this session over here. We're going to have a strong focus. We'll first blow through the indexes. We'll first take a look at what's going on. We see that obviously the markets are kind of happy over here. We're still like this break exit thing's going to work out. Stimulus is coming. So just really quick, because it doesn't warrant more attention than that from us. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, has given basically a 48-hour deadline to some type of agreement needs to be made. It, you know, they could go either way, right? In my opinion, it doesn't look like they're going to have any stimulus before the election. If you just gameplay that out, who would that benefit? It would probably benefit the sitting president. So probably we won't see any stimulus. I mean, probably, not definitely, but before the election. So, what's going to happen if within the next 48 hours, by tomorrow, we find out the talks have come to a crash? How will the market react? Will we see a little bit of a tantrum, or will the market be forward looking? Is it going to say, it's all right, it doesn't matter? A month from now during the lame duck session, we're going to get some type of stimulus after the election. I don't know. We need to watch and wait and see what happens, but we just can't buy in to this little bit of optimism right here. That rug could be pulled in a short time frame. Either which way, let's take a look at the indexes over here with that in mind and see what's interesting for us. Again, we're going to go through our normal flow over here this morning, but we're going to have a strong focus on FX. That's where the opportunity is today. We're going to see what's available over there. Bitcoin, Powell speaking is brought to my attention this morning in the CTM Telegram group. I don't know if that's a Forbes or a Bloomberg article saying that Powell is speaking about cross-border currencies and they're getting ready to impose these digital currencies on us. Raoul Pal did a great Twitter thread over the weekend about the coming central bank digital tokens. I've been saying it for years, watching what the IMF was putting out, the papers they were putting out, the CBDC. So we'll check it all out over here. I think Ripple, by the way, was also bid on that earlier today. Ripple's leading the currency markets, the cryptocurrency markets, which is kind of odd, being that the use case of Ripple was cross-border settlement, and it seems now that the central banks are introducing their own. That's all good. We'll look at that from a technical standpoint. Let's first figure out what's going on here on the markets. Japan, Bahamas, soon to be Cayman Islands. We're seeing Ripple fans, that's all good. Understand, XRP token holders, Ripple, the parent company, is holding and selling to you, retail, billions of these tokens in order to fund their company operations. If you invested into XRP years ago on the fact that it was the utility was a cross-border settlement token, you should be getting rid of your tokens now, understanding that central banks are introducing their own, and the use case for XRP is no longer. All right, let's go. Yeah, I did see that as well. We'll talk all. I did see that as well. Again, so fast forward, it's still all right. We don't need to focus on that right now. I did see that. That's awesome. That was also in, by the way, Raoul Powell's thread. If anyone wants to focus in on that, there's still a little bit of ways. It looks like it's going to be another, I would say 3 years minimum before they're ready to introduce a digital dollar. We'll see. These timelines are obviously speeding up. Wow. So let's start here on the S&P 500. And again, I'm framing this around the fact that the next 48 hours has a deadline by the Speaker of the House, that they need some type of agreement to have stimulus before the election. The election is just 2.5 weeks away, right? 2 weeks away, I should say. So my question is, if that doesn't go through in the next, whatever it is now, amount of hours, how will the market react? Right? Will that be a buying opportunity? Because is the market going to be looking for stimulus coming after the election? We need to see. That's going to be a tell. Right now, though, what am I seeing? Like, this is where we stood aside. We've come back down. right? And we are still consolidating between a big resistance, a good support. We're in no man's land, and we're also consolidating like this with lower highs and higher lows. So we are neutral, solid neutral, not even thinking or looking to take a position, or at least that's where I am. If you see something looking at this differently, all right. I don't see it though. I think neutral is the only position right now on the indexes. How could I trade gold if you're from the US? I mean, listen, gold, I don't know if you want to trade gold so much as you want to accumulate gold. That's what I do. That's what I do. So over here you're looking at the Nasdaq, same thing, right? We got out of positions, we've pulled back, and not too much is happening. Is that even a possible bear flag? It could be. That could be a possible bear flag setting up. Again, I think, look, I don't, you got to be careful about imposing your will on the market because the market will destroy you. I'm just saying, I think that if we get any type of negative reaction because the talks fall apart, that will be an opportunity to lean in and buy if all of a sudden the market starts looking forward towards the stimulus coming in the lame duck period. This over here, though, again, it gives a little bit more of an edge than the S&P, but I'm neutral on the indexes. Standing aside, I will be focusing more on FX. We all know the Bitcoin position that we looked at last week. We'll take a look at that, right? Martin, good reads on the market, right? So what's next? Let's just continue looking at them though. Let's look at the Dow. The Dow, you could see, like we were looking at this on, I think it was Friday morning, and this looked like it was coming back into this channel over here. It actually peaked up over here, and then it's come back out. This is just kind of ugly right now. If anything, you could see that in hindsight over here, it's kind of still being rejected by that resistance over there. It looks a little bit fragile, I'll say. Nevertheless, there is no edge on the indexes. That's something that you want to, if we start resuming off here, sell. Maybe you're looking for like who is the weakest duck in the bunch, right? So Nasdaq possibly setting up into a bear flag. Nevertheless, I'm neutral, waiting, watching. Dow over here possibly having trouble along that resistance. I don't know though. Let's see. And Russell looks quite good here in the fact that you can see the consolidation on the Russell is consolidating towards that resistance over there. It continues hugging that resistance. It looks like it's getting ready to break up. As long as it stays above the parabolic trend line, solid. Nevertheless, completely neutral, not looking for any type of position on the indexes. That's your strength there today. Let's take a look at the DXY, which we all know has been under attack this morning. Why is that? Is that stimulus hopes? Is that because because of Greek exit negotiations? Either which way, technically, we were following that channel over there. The channel over there. This line over here, a couple of people, Justin, Stefan, a few of you asked me to add that in over there. That was the line that everyone looked at on Friday. You could see where that's coming back from. That's going all the way back towards the March highs. Strawberry Jam, I saw your tweet over the week. I was going to say, I saw your tweet over the weekend. Thanks for that. Thanks for popping in over here. This is coming back over here to the spike high during the crisis. It's connecting these points over here in May. And then again recently, just going back to the end of September, just so everyone's aware of that and why that's there. Thank you guys for the heads up and adding that line in, which the market is highly focused in on. And that could in the future give us a good edge when that finally breaks to the upside of when we're looking for a bigger move in this ever ongoing situation. If you pull up the true trend, you see that the dollar is back and forth sideways. We've been navigating this ultra solidly in a very difficult environment. And so what are we looking at? The channel breakdown over there, right, led to this big dump back into that trendline support. It's still in no man's land right now, right? And rightfully so. We have this whole thing that we just talked about with the indexes where we're ultra neutral because of, we need to see how the market reacts. DXY is kind of, taking that same route here. Okay. If we get back into this channel over here, if we lose this area of light support back into this channel over there, all right, then we're looking and targeting the bottom. And we'll make that brighter of this channel over here. That could be a bigger move on the dollar. Right now, not much of an edge. That's good to know. Again, we're going to be focusing on FX today. Gold over here, very easy, right? Again, we continue to monitor and wait for this trend line over here to break to the upside and or downside. We're challenging right now this morning the upper resistance. Of course, this is on stimulus hopes. We have not got the breakout. If we get the breakout, right? If we get a breakout and then an entry, that's a good position to take regardless of focusing in on what's happened. Like, you don't need to wait for a confirmation of the stimulus and or not. Taking a high probability trade all day long because you have your risk managed. So we'll just follow what happens on price. Right now, though, we're just being rejected by the outer resistance over there. And there's not much else to say. Milty, good morning. Let's check out on silver as well. Silver leading the way on the upside today. Up almost 2.5%. Silver also, just like gold, maintaining in that triangle over here. And again, we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. One of the greatest edges you could give yourself as a trader is that patience, knowing when you should be involved in a particular instrument and knowing when you should not be. It's not often, like on the indexes today, that I'm saying, well, we're completely neutral. There's not even an opportunity, right? And that's what it is today. And that's a great knowledge is power. That's a great thing to know. Let's keep going over here. Let's take a look now at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin right into the resistance right over here. This trend line resistance has been 1, 2. This is the third look at it over here. You got Powell speaking at the IMF digital border settlement, whatever his topic of nonsense is. And you can see over here, this is when we said, all right, we're going to look at positioning long on Bitcoin. We have the stop marked over here. We talked about extensively why. We need to cover it. We need to break out above this resistance over there. We also talked about targets that we're potentially looking at over here, right? And we're going to be targeting the upper end of that trend line over here. We don't need to talk about it until we start pumping up there. When we took the trade or looked at the trade, we gave a very, very strong overview about where the stop should be and why, and where the take profit should be and why. So that all looks gravy. All right. So what else do we got over there? Sorry to disagree with you, but you are a huge supporter of neutral, not involved position, like 4 days, 5. Yeah. So I don't know what you're disagreeing about. Yeah. I don't know. So again, the unfairness. I have a mic and to be able to articulate my feelings. You're stuck to typing, so I can't really get or understand what you're saying at. But am I a big, huge supporter of being neutral, not involved in a position like 4 or 5 days or 5 out of 3? Yeah, I average 3 trades a week, Andre. Of course. Look at I'm looking at 30 different instruments a day, spending hours a day doing that, and take 3 trades a week. So, but it's not often that I'm not looking for an entry on the indexes. Right now, I'm not looking for an entry at all on the next indexes, long or short. That doesn't mean I'm not looking for a position. I'm not focused on the indexes. If you're limiting yourself to 3 or 4 indexes and that's all you're looking for an opportunity, well, then you're going to have to wait a lot longer than me. I have all of these pairs to look through today to see if there's an opportunity today. I'm neutral on the indexes today. Indexes, right? Is there opportunity here? Yeah, there's going to be a ton of it. I was already looking this morning. All right. So, there you go. If you limit, but one of the biggest mistakes that people tell new traders is that you should only focus on one instrument. You should only trade the euro US dollar. Well, man, good luck. You might only have, that it might only be 2 or 3 trades in the whole month on the euro US dollar. And if you're only focused on the euro US dollar and you're taking 3 trades a day, no wonder you're not profitable. You're doing this wrong. Yeah, you're much more profitable taking a few high probability trades than sitting in front of go play the slot machines in Vegas if you need action. I don't know, feed quarters in there or something. This is not gambling. All right. This is not how, if you have that approach, obviously you're never going to make it. So I hope that's helpful for you figuring out your confusion because you're confused. What else? Ethereum lagging. By the way, go back to, if anyone missed it, Raul Powell's thread over the weekend. Just on Twitter, go to Raul Powell, and he talked about the whole digital currencies that the central banks are obviously getting ready to implore. Does he get into the George Gammon YouTube video that I did that I shared with you on Friday? Gives a lot better explanations of the advantages of the central banks and why they're headed towards that direction. I recommend both. You want to get as much information as possible for as many sources. Those are two good resources to begin with. All right. Anthony, these charts are trading view. I'm gonna be going all through these charts now. I have about 20-25 pairs over here that I'm going to be blowing through over here as we go through FX over here and see what's going on. UBI is coming. That's something that I've been very strongly sounding ever since the March crisis, saying the end result of this crisis will be UBI. It now looks clear that the end result, the whole reason for this crisis, the whole reason, is that they can introduce these digital currencies and then not only UBI, but again, get into the thread. All right, what else? Let's start with the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, broad stroke over here. Let me actually come back to the 3 data over there. So I'm just trying to get a feel for what's going on, and I do not have a feel whatsoever here on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. That means for me, and by the way, just a quick note, the strength of the Canadian dollar. That's all I'm picking up from that, but I'm moving aside just as quick. Mima, Marie, wonderful to see you here this morning. What a joy. It has been a long time. Mima Marie, when we first started this 1 year ago, right? Every day for months, every day here with us. Great to see you. Alberto as well. Great to see you both in here this morning. Big shout out. All right, Australian dollar. Swiss franc over here. You could see, or what I see is a couple of things over here. I'm seeing broad strokes over here. This is resistance over there. We've come into that resistance. We're rejected by the resistance. And you see this long, big bull flag I have over here? We are towards the bottom of it. Heads up, I tend to stay away from the Swiss franc outside of a crisis. In a crisis, I position into the Swiss franc. But we're not even remotely talking about any type of crisis right now. I'm just going to keep going over there. I prefer to trade the prefer to trade the yen over the Swiss franc outside of a crisis. And in the crisis, it was both the Swiss franc and Japanese yen. Love the concept of UBI. Sure, will have not seen it in a long time. That's a good one over here as we talk about, the old gang over there. So Australian dollar, Japanese yen over here. You can see over here, by the way, a couple of things. You see that light resistance? Follow my mouse over to there. That's what kind of where we peaked out. We fell, right? We were stalking and watching this ascending wedge. Then we saw during the New York session over here, the retest. This was the entry during the New York session over here. Came down to this area of support. Price was consolidating, broke to the upside, and is coming into that resistance now. Is it getting ready to resume down? Possibly. At this point, though, if it were to make a down price bar and then start resuming back up, I would exit the trade over here from a stop now at break even, and I would take profits and get out over there. I have to agree with you, Mitjan Drew, and that's why I am not a fan myself. Let's keep going over there, though. I want to see what is going on and why, and see when things start becoming clear. And I'm going to fix up my flags over here because right now the Australian dollar, Japanese yen is not in play. This is the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Let me just get a bigger Like, let me go into the daily time frame, just get a clear look at it and see what's going on over here. And I see, by the way, these trend lines that we had going over here, since we broke down on the day, you had the retest, resumption down, now taking out this resistance. This means there could be more follow through to the downside. Let's look at the 8 hour over here, see what's going on over there. Is that an entry here this morning to the downside? Well, it is an entry. This would, let me go ahead and fix that up. That is definitely giving a possibility for an entry over here. I see that could be more follow through down to the downside. I'm observing. I'm not going to, just because I see an entry and because it's active right now, go ahead and place an order, but I will come back to it and see. Thank you. Hey, thanks for that comment, by the way. And I'm not trying. Yeah, I mean, we don't have this. Hey, this atmosphere speaks for itself. This community is phenomenal. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. We're away. We're traveling tomorrow, so that's why there was no possibility for a weekend update. We've had an incredibly busy weekend, but yeah, I miss them too. So it was just not possible this weekend, but that doesn't mean that it won't be. Right. Martine, this is very important. Also, thank you for just a reminder to everyone. Well, so listen, uh, highly agree. We're not going to discuss politics where it's like, I support this one, I support that one. That's unnecessary. But we have to have mature discussions in here. And we also do need to talk about if we were talking about UBI, or what are the implications of that, right? We do need to be we need to be able to have intelligent and adult-like conversations over here, but we just need to really have that whole mindset that we're like, it's conquering the markets together. We help make each other better, so we're not looking to argue with each other, right? We're looking to have intelligent conversations. Think about Twitter. Twitter is this amazing place where you see lots of people who are really like just they're nasty, but you see these really amazing, intelligent conversations happening. To help all of us keep lifting each other up and all of us. That's what we want to do. All right. What about Australian dollar, US dollar? So by the way, like this is a short over here, like break the trend line, come in, you're testing the horizontal resistance over there. Also that trend line broken support as resistance, but here is support. I take profit, move my stop loss, manage my trade, holding it. When I say take profit, you're still holding the majority of the trade. That looks like a bear flag developing over there. That looks like a bear flag developing over there. And you're looking to push this multiple levels. Would you buy over here? Is my question to you. So you could easily see the short position. Would you be buying off of this area of support over here? That's the question that has to be in your mind over there. Are we in an uptrend since March? Strong uptrend. Is that coming back into an area of support? Yeah. Could you be playing the sell side and buy side over here? Yeah. Is that the trade you want to take today? I don't know. All right. These are how you have to look at it right now. I like to hear the words Bitcoin is flying. That's good. Right? Bitcoin up 1% though. Right? We're looking for those gains when Bitcoin's up 10% in a session. We're gonna see those gains in Bitcoin when Bitcoin is flying up 10%. Then we're gonna be like, Bitcoin is flying. All right. So that's nice to see. Bitcoin, is it taking out the resistance, by the way? That's also something very important over here for us to figure out, right? That looks healthy. I want to see a close above this resistance over there, right? But I mean, our next step is we're targeting that last high, that yearly high over there, right? It's a matter of time. All right, these next few months should be good. You guys are all talking about the euro, Australian dollar. I feel like I'm missing it, but I'm going to be there soon. So I have a few more pairs before I get there. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, a couple of things. Friday, we saw into the trend line support over there, the resumption off. Now you're coming into resistance. This is resistance right over here, which means a couple of things. You have to manage that trade now. Take a little bit off of profit. You have to go ahead and move your stop to break even. However, is this an opportunity to short here as well? I see also a couple of things, just like on gold and silver. You could see that triangle consolidation occurring over here, right? You're kind of in the middle in no man's land, but you still have enough of a range here where you could still be playing it. Like this was a definite buy. Would you be looking to sell that if you're rejected here? That's pretty strong resistance. I wouldn't personally. I wouldn't. Why? Because I listen, coming right into the support over there, the risk to reward is simply not there for me. I would not be looking to take this to the sell side. Nevertheless, we'll keep monitoring it to see what happens. That was a good entry off the trend line support over there. Again, neutral for me at this moment. So I'm gonna do that. Pound Swiss franc, digital money. I love it. That's true. Brandon, I'm gonna come back to the comments though, and not I have no idea. No one. I have no idea. Instead of trying to guess when it will happen, just watch when it does happen. Um, wow, that's a huge risk on sign here this morning. Here, looking at the Swiss franc, Japanese yen. I do want to take a look. Yeah, like Coyote, and I'm gonna finish going through all FX pairs, and then we could get into doing whatever in the session. But this is important. I want to work through all of this. It's Monday morning. I need to get that awareness. Monday morning session, ultra important. Tuesday morning session, ultra important. So let's finish that, and then we could get into going across the board and looking at whatever. I love that. So Swiss franc, Japanese yen. So let's just figure this out together. This was an ascending wedge, bearish pattern, broke down to the downside, never given an entry, and that never gave a short entry whatsoever for myself. Consolidating, right? Broke to the upside out of the consolidation. This was a possible place if you were rejected here, it could open up a short. This right here, though, is still opening up a short opportunity, right? I'm going to just extending that over there. If we come up into this area over here, this horizontal resistance and also that trend line resistance, that could be a beautiful short opportunity. That's actually something very interesting to me, just in case we see in the next 48 hours, all of a sudden, huge risk off, stimulus is not happening, market tends to overreact. So I'm going to keep watching that one. All right. Euro, Australian dollar. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we missed you. I missed you. I missed you too, brother. I missed you too. I noticed. That's why in the morning I'm going through everyone's comments over there. Anyone who's saying hello, that's interesting for me. I want to know what's going on, who's here, what they have to say. The Dow, I don't see anything interesting yet. We'll come back to that later. And I hope you had a great vacation. You were missed, that's for sure. So Euro, Australian dollar, let's take a look at it. All right. This is why you guys are talking about it. We're breaking outside of the range. Let me come to the daily time frame for you. Please don't spam, Professor. Please don't spam the channel. Just don't spam the channel. Over here, the consolidation over here, you can see that we're breaking out to the upside. Euro against the Australian dollar. I noticed the Australian dollar was weak versus the Canadian dollar. Now I notice the weakness of the Australian dollar versus the euro. Okay, those are the things that add up in my mind. If we get a close here outside of here, is that the trade that has no name, by the way? Right? I think that's going to be the next training session. By the way, I'll send an email out after this live stream. We're not going to do a live training session tomorrow because I'll be traveling tomorrow. We're going to do it Thursday instead, just to give me one day of getting back situated. We'll do it on Thursday. I think either this week or next week, we're going to talk about the entry that has no name. Here it is occurring. I would not take it, though. Again, break outside of this range, close outside of this range. That then sets up some entries after breaking out of that long, huge consolidation area. Right now, stand aside. Wow, Oz, me too, right? Definitely. The relationships in here are valued, at least by myself. That's awesome that you were thinking that. So look at that big range, that big consolidation period breaking out to the upside over here right now today. Something to take note of. Something to take note of. Is Christmas coming early? Let's take a look across the board. Euro Canadian dollar. I noticed that the Canadian dollar was strong versus the Australian dollar. And I see it that the euro is, so the euro is definitely the strongest pair we have on the board today. This is not something that I like at all. I'm just going to skip over it. There's no edge from here on the euro Canadian dollar. The next Bitcoin video is one of the most important ones. This is setting up right here on the Euro Swiss franc. We'll take a look at that in 1 second. The next Bitcoin video is one of the most important videos. There's no rush on it. It's coming soon. It is coming soon. Euro Swiss franc. You could see that this support has broken, right? We've closed below it. We're now retesting that broken support. Should hold as resistance. Is a rejection off of here something you want to take, right? I could see it technically, and it's clean. You could see this big consolidation period, sideways market, finally broke out of the range, retesting it, resumption off, gives a short entry. I myself am not taking it. I'm not even interested in it. It's green to watch what's happening over there. I'm not interested in it. I don't want to take a trade on the Swiss franc. I'm waiting too. It's coming though, and it'll be an important one. Euro British pound. We have the whole drama going on here about, are we going to leave with a deal? Are we leaving without a deal? I don't know. Jordan, is the Thursday session included? Yeah, the Thursday session. Not only the Thursday session, Ken, also all past trading sessions are on the Conquering the Markets recommended playlist. You're talking about a trove of insight and knowledge. If you haven't received that, you're receiving emails with step-by-step instructions for getting started. In one of those emails, the recommended playlist is shared. Also, in the update, when I send information about this upcoming Thursday's trading session, I'll also include a link to that. You could also be looking for those. Euro British pound, from just a perfect TA standpoint, is in this over here, this big bull flag, this descending channel, which probably is a bullish continuation pattern over here. So keep monitoring this. I have to say, even though I don't want to trade the euro British pound, now that we're getting almost down to the nitty gritty, if we get a big technical breakout that's clear like this, I will find myself getting involved. So that's a change over there, right? That's a big change from my part. All right. Not happening today though. Absolutely. Euro Japanese yen, again, you saw the ascending wedge. You saw the breakdown. That's on a daily time frame. Let me come back to the 8-hour. All right. Breakdown, never got away, never an entry into the support, coming back up into resistance. This is something to watch now, similar to what I was looking at on the Swiss franc Japanese yen, but this is lagging. What do I mean by that? Just look at them both. Here's the Swiss franc Japanese yen. I'll go back to the euro Japanese yen in 1 second. You could see that this has broken that resistance over there. It's still setting up for a short, and it's got to clear this resistance over here right now, this trend line, and that resistance over there to look for the long side. Could happen. But right now, I'm looking for a possible shorting opportunity setting up. If you look over at the euro Japanese yen, it's a similar trade setup. You got the ascending wedge breakdown, but you can see that we're caught up into that resistance, which shows a little bit of a better opportunity here for going short. If that is rejected over here, that's the first opportunity since the breakdown of the wedge for me to go ahead and short it. So again, that's something that I'm interested in. You could hear by my voice, if you start paying attention to when I look at pairs and I'm looking at setups and I talk about the setup, you could get a huge hint by the cadence of my voice of how interested I'm in something and whether or not it's something that I will be taking it. I have no idea why anyone would be calling for $2,000 Bitcoin, but if you've been paying attention, even in the bear market, for the people that were calling for 1,000 Bitcoin, I don't know. There you go, Brandon. It's wrong. Looking to punish. So I see the weak Australian dollar. Interesting kips. I saw also on Friday or Saturday a headline that China was basically telling all of their mills not to use Australian cotton anymore, right? So I'm not familiar. I'm not aware of what's going on over here. This is from Kips, the first I'm hearing about some type of reason why we're seeing that weakness in the Australian dollar today. You're seeing that breakout of that range against the Euro Australian dollar. Interesting. Um, is the Euro Australian dollar. If we get a nice entry, Tom, if on the Euro Australian dollar, if we're breaking out of a big range right now, that makes me interested. But I don't see a setup happening right now. The Euro Japanese yen actually looks closer to an entry. But yeah, I'm interested I always, when I got big breakouts of especially multi-year trend lines, I'm very interested in them. They don't always work, but when they do, they work out really well. Same thing here with the Euro Australian dollar. After that big range, that's offering up a nice possibility. Sure, of course, I'm definitely interested in it. Aussie stocks are super strong. People flew from the Australian dollar. Bitcoin continuing to rise this morning. Nice to see. Powell speaking about those digital currencies just a little bit. Euro New Zealand dollar, this is actually offering up an opportunity as well, right? You see this trend line over here. You see that we broke down, came up and tested it, resumed off of it. However, I see the higher lows coming back in. That if that holds as resistance again and is rejected, that's a possibility. It doesn't look like it's promising right now, but perhaps we will rally. Then once, boom, 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 boom. So Euro US dollar. How about this one? We're going to talk about the DXY as we talk about the Euro US dollar right now. This is coming into the resistance of the trend line over here right now. Breakdown into support, coming up for a retest. This is actually offering up a possible short opportunity up here. You are in no man's land between the resistance and down over here, the blue line, that 12-year trend line support. Kind of in no man's land, but I could see this channel breakdown, retest right now. If you're rejected, that's possible. Let me show you the DXY, why we're here. You could see as the Euro US dollar is coming into that resistance, that's coming into support, right? If we break, as we said in the early, if we break down into the channel, then we're looking for an extension down. If we hold over here, well, with just the no man's land, I wouldn't take the long. Euro US dollar, standing aside. I'm not watching this. That's not something that I would be entering. Thank you, brother. Thanks for taking the time for that super positive comment over there and letting me know. I appreciate that. Nasdaq is just neutral right now. Just don't. By the way, pro tip: don't always be looking for head and shoulders. Don't just follow the trend line breaks anyway. Pound Australian dollar, you're seeing that weakness right in the Australian dollar again. Seeing it right over here right now. I'm seeing that come towards see this blue box. This is also a huge big range here. You can see that we're coming towards the resistance over there. Nevertheless, because of the uncertainty with the pound, I'm just moving along. Markets are definitely not only are artificially inflated. What is QE? QE, look, QE inflates asset prices. That was the big signal, the thing we talked about in March, right? Or not in March, more towards May, middle of May. That was the big thesis going on over here. And then we stayed long for months on equities. But look, even though the markets are manipulated, you want to know what the manipulation is, and then you want to get on that side of the trade. Eh? Markets are manipulated. All markets are manipulated by whoever could do that. And then Sam, I don't know, but my thesis remains first quarter of 2021 is when we see all-time highs on Bitcoin. I feel strongly about that. Let's see. This is the British pound, Canadian dollar. You could see over here, it's in no man's land. You could see over here, by the way, you should be able to do this with your own mind. You could just see the lower highs and the higher lows, getting ready for a move, a big move over here. But right now, just completely neutral, right? You can see it's in dead center no man's land. And by the way, you should also be making a note in your mind right now that why the Australian dollar is much weaker than the Canadian dollar right now. The pound Australian dollar, you saw that we're up towards the high end of the resistance, right? Challenging the high over here. You can see the difference. So this is how you figure out which currencies are stronger, which are weaker, by doing your analysis like this. Heat maps, not a good way to go. This is how you do it. So I'm seeing that Canadian dollar actually giving a little bit of strength. Australian dollar weak, right? I'm going to skip the pound Swiss franc only because I'm not looking for a trade for sure there, but we'll focus on the pound Japanese yen together. All right. So again, this is a very similar setup we saw last week, those bearish formations on the Japanese yen, except for the Canadian dollar, right? And then there you go again. That's that hint about the Canadian dollar. For a long time, we've been seeing that weakness in the Canadian dollar. Now I'm seeing relative strength in the Canadian dollar. While all Japanese yen pairs were forming bearish formations, the Canadian dollar is the only one that had a bullish formation. Now looking versus other pairs today, I see strength in the Canadian dollar. Interesting. Nevertheless, this was an ascending wedge. This is on the daily time frame. Let me come back to the 8-hour. If they're introducing any type of new Bretton Woods system, I don't think that they will be introduced today. They still have they're behind. They have a lot of catch up to play to do, right? So they're behind, right? Part of that whole thing is trying to break Monero, right? They're trying to break the code on Monero. They just hired. They paid two firms $600,000 each, trying to be able to break that. They're not yet. They're setting it up. They're not ready yet. Things are in motion. It's going to be a little while before they start introducing. They're doing test cases right now, right? Your Japanese, blah, 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 excuse me, pound Japanese yen. Here is the ascending wedge, breakdown, retest, resumption down, and now coming up again for another retest. That's adding a possible shorting opportunity if you're rejected into this resistance over there. Is it possible we see a big risk-off move in the next 48 hours? Yes, it is. What does this have to do to become bullish again in my mind? And you see this upper resistance, that, and this horizontal resistance, maybe even up here. I don't know. Well, it's not there yet. Right now, I'm only looking for a bearish entry over here. U.S. dollar, Canadian dollar since Friday, short, selling in resistance and strong downtrends. Good trade. Ollie, just thanks for being here. Thanks for adding to the conversation. By the way, if you're here today and you're happy to be here and you haven't yet already, hit that like button. I would be grateful. Please go ahead and smash that like button. Help YouTube, help the algorithm know that we like what's going on over here. Look, I think Polkadot is highly speculative. I don't think Bitcoin is highly speculative. Bitcoin is highly proven technology. I like high probability trades, right? That's where I'm focused. Thank you, Model 3 Life, and always thank you for being here. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, you could also go ahead, if you do not like this channel, go ahead and smash that thumbs down button. That is your prerogative for sure. Pound New Zealand dollar, nothing. I don't see anything over here that I want to get involved with. Seeing how big is that resistance over there, and I feel like I should have some resistance over there, and I don't. I'm going to go ahead and push down this line over here. We got all of crypto flying today. Excellent. Trying to see where that belongs. All right, let's keep going over here. We're about a little more than halfway through. Pound US dollar. Nothing. I'm going to keep moving. Yeah, we'll look at the DXY as soon as we finish all of this. This is New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. You can see that it's trying to break out of this little bit. Would be a bullish breakout, by the way, right? If we broke out of this descending triangle over here, get above that resistance, that could possibly still be setting up, but the Canadian dollar is strong today. You're into resistance. Just interesting. right? You see that there's no setup here. That's not yellow. I'm still watching it, but this could possibly be setting up for a buy if we break out to the upside. I am noticing that the Canadian dollar is first relatively strong here. It's holding up a fight. It was rejected at that resistance. I would not sell over here, by the way. Would I? I, only because it's a bullish pattern. It's a bullish pattern. I wouldn't be selling over here. I would be buying down over here though. If we came into this, if we rejected here and come back down into that lower trendline support, I would buy off of the lower trendline support, looking to push multiple levels, meaning looking to push past the resistance and see if we get a breakout. So that's something that might become very interesting later in the week. New Zealand dollar, Swiss franc, nothing. I'm going to unflag that. There's not even anything there over there to review. New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Interesting. Do you see this? Why I say interesting is because I'm coming up towards this trend line over here. This is going back. I'm trying to see how far back that trend line goes. It goes back quite a while. How about that? Well, I think it's 5 years. And we're coming towards the upper end of that trend line over there. I'll just keep following it. Again, they don't always work, but I'm normally looking for those big multi-year trendline breaks. So we'll keep going. I'll keep watching, but nothing there today. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, nothing. And that's why, and the DXY is kind of neutral for me also. Yes, JM3. All of these pairs that we've gone over today are all the pairs that you should be watching. There is JM3. There, it's one of the modules in the course. I share my watch list. Highly recommended. But if you just go back afterwards, when this is uploaded to YouTube, if you want to, you could just you could see them here on your screen, and you could just take your time. It'll take you no more than 10 minutes, I'm sure. Just go ahead. All these pairs that I finished going through, I'm getting to the bottom of my list right now. Those are all the pairs that also I would highly recommend that you follow. And not only that, I'm glad you're here. Just go ahead, subscribe to the channel, and then watch the rest of this week as we go through all these pairs every day. And just for 3 days, just have that posture of openness, waiting and watching until you get the hang of what's going on. This is US dollar, Canadian dollar. Someone spoke about selling that resistance over there last week. Well done. Look, you can see that weakness in the dollar and that strength in the Canadian dollar today. It looks like it's trying to break down and pass through this local support as well. US dollar, Canadian dollar. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, brother, very much. US dollar, Swiss franc. You can see that. So this is just an observation. I don't see an edge for myself on the dollar right now, but this is what I want to point out is that this trend line over here, which is a channel, the Swiss franc has broken back down into it, right? I'm going to go to the Euro US dollar right now, and then the DXY. I can see that the Euro has not yet broken back into that channel. And if I go to the DXY, let's take a look at it. And the DXY is just testing that support of the channel. So do you see that? Do you see the difference here? Do you see how the Swiss franc is actually leading, but I don't have confirmation yet on the euro? So that leads me to be a lot neutral. There's mixed signals over there. And the dollar itself, like I said, unless we get back in this channel, if we get back inside this channel, I'm then targeting down over here on 92.60, which will be, I'll make that brighter. That will be the support of that trend line over there. But right now, why there is some opportunity, it's not on dollar pairs for me. There's opportunity today. There is some stuff that was very interesting, but it's not on the dollar pairs today. Okay? So that's my look around. That's my setting up my homework for later. Let's take a look at now what's going on. Let's see how Bitcoin is doing. All right, so Bitcoin looking to take over this resistance over there. If we close above here today, right, take out this little peak over here, that's setting up the next leg up for Bitcoin. if you've been following what's going on over here, right? We're all about it. We started over here. The break of this trend line is when this move started, and then this was what confirmed it, right? And then over here we entered into that bull flag. We came to the resistance. This is where I said, all right, this is a swing trade for Bitcoin setting up over here, right? That was I forget what session it was. I think it was Thursday of last week when I said this is the best looking trade, and that's it's good to see a follow through right now. Hey, listen, trades don't always follow through. You could do really well in this game with just a 55% win ratio. You could do extraordinarily well. You know what that means? That you could be wrong 45% of the time. By the way, you could be profitable only being right 45% of the time. You could do extremely well being right 55% of the time. You just have to have good risk management. Alan. Thanks for the shout out. Definitely. BG Investor, if you're waiting for gold, if you're watching gold right now and you're like, okay, you didn't get the entry we were watching, what's the next entry on Bitcoin? Right? That's the question. And that's so right now, if we get a close above, this resistance over there, and who knows, where that goes from there. But you would then be waiting. The next possible swing trade would be then a retest. Do you see this line over here, this resistance line? I'm not going to get into it now. I'll starting Wednesday morning when I'm back at my desktop, it's easier for me, and I'll get into more. But this trend line over here, this is the prime trend line, and these are cloned trend lines of that trend line that are all relevant. If I come back down over here right now, you could see that the market right now has hit this once, twice, 3, 4 times. So that's that resistance. If it breaks today above it, any type of retest into that and resumption off, that's your next swing trade entry off of Bitcoin. Make sense? Very clear. All right. So what else do we want to see today? Equity markets, Nasdaq's flying. Let me revisit the markets over here. No, but within the next, Bitcoin, in my opinion, will have $1 trillion market cap within the next, call it 12 months. Samuel, that's my view. Within the next 12 months, Bitcoin will have a $1 trillion market cap. So again, nothing. I'm just looking at the Nasdaq, by the way, and we're watching this potential bear flag developing. Bear flag, right? But it's neutral. It's just neutral. We don't need to focus in on that. Could I explain why trend lines work? Look, it's a really important question, and not just trend lines, horizontal support and resistance, which carry more weight than trend lines, right? The horizontal support and resistance lines carry more weight, and this whole concept of trading is following price alone off of the market structure of support and resistance with the help of trend lines and chart patterns. I don't know why they work, Kaya, only because I don't care. And when I say that, I mean that I'm only interested in what is and not why. Now, the mind is beautiful, and the uniqueness and individuality of every person is absolutely a treasure. For me, myself, I'm only interested in what it is, right? I don't need to understand the why. I observe tendencies. That's what I do. That's my skill set. So I don't know exactly why, but I know what is. But you could research and find out, because there are other people who are interested in not so much as what is, but why. No, I don't use fibs ever. I don't ever use fibs. That does look like a cup and handle, right? So you can see it's like a sideways cup and handle, right? It's like a tilted cup and handle. Man, I'm learning every day too. That's that growth mindset. I'm not only learning every day, over 20, how many? I mean, over 20 years in the markets. I'm learning every day. I have that mindset that every day I'm open to learning, and that I'm always looking to improve. It's the only way. Is Ripple undervalued? Is so so people get very upset if you call XRP Ripple, but Ripple is the parent company of XRP. Ripple, the parent company, funds their company by selling XRP to the market, and their use case is cross-border settlement. That's the use case of XRP, the token. This morning, you have this conference, IMF conference, talking about digital currencies used for cross-border settlement. Jerome Powell is speaking out of it, and these guys are all together, figuring out how to do this on their own. They're not looking for XRP. They're looking to do that and control it themselves. Jordan, I was saying all big stocks are forming a triangle in cup and handles. Absolutely. Uh, I remember everything. Is that a bull flag on the Nasdaq? Is the question. So is that a giant bull flag? This was. Hold on. Like when you say, is that a bull flag? Are you talking about this? Like, is that a giant bull flag developing? If it is, it's way too soon to know. By the way, I'm glad you even mentioned it, not because if it's a bull flag or not. This is kind of similar when people talk about is it a head and shoulders or not. Follow my train of thought over here. Um, this is if it, by the way, is this what you're talking about? I don't know. Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you, brother. Hey man, thanks for saying that, man. I That's what keeps me going. That gives me like those thumbs up flying, get me energized, and also some beautiful comments like that. Um, Kips, I was just thinking, you just read my mind because I was just thinking what's going on with nickel. But I want to finish this line of thought. I'm not sure if you're asking, okay, is this a big bull flag? So instead of me wondering if that's a big bull flag, which it could be, right? It's not something that I would see or look for, but I'm glad you said that only because of this. And let me show you why. Because I feel like whether that's a big bull flag or not, I should be focused on this. And this is a huge edge over here. This, I think I should have a trend line over here, right? So whether that's a bull flag or not, a breakout of this trend line, that's something that I want to be involved in. And that gives me a bit of an edge over here where I don't have one right now. And ever since taking profit off of this, I am now have been patient, now neutral, because at first I was waiting for a quick entry if it developed. But this, a breakout above that, well, that's something that would get me excited and I would want to be participating in. So I don't know if that's a bull flag or not, a giant bull flag. More importantly, but this is something that I want to be in focus, which would be a breakout of that bull flag if it is. And that's the same thing with head and shoulders. Instead of worrying about whether or not you're seeing a head and shoulder pattern form, just focus on that trend line, which is the break of the neckline anyway. All right. So, Jordan, that new trend line and the bottom line is forming a asymmetrical triangle, which would be this, and we're far away from that, but that would be like if this is forming, and then I see a little noise over it, and something like this, right? Is that maybe what we're talking about? But we don't need to focus in on that yet. If that is 1,000 to start the week, 1,000 likes, Model 3 Life. I'm just, you know what? I just a smile on my face. I'm so happy to be going over these charts. I'm so happy to be doing it with all of you, and again, that makes me happy. So anyone who's here, and thank you for that support, by the way, smashing that like button. Dan, all right, that looks beautiful. Dan, the log chart. I don't use log charts. I do think that they're absolutely fun to look at Bitcoin on a log scale, right? To look at Bitcoin on a log scale is just super fun, and zoom out, and that's awesome, and I like that, and it's it's really cool. But when I'm trading off the 8-hour time frame on a swing trader's perspective, I do not use log charts. All right. So let's go down. Let's look at Kip's nickel over here, because you see, by the way, look, it's not just me. You should notice the flow. This is, by the way, we'll look at on the 3-day time frame. This is long-term investment, bullish as can be, right? Bullish as can be. Have you noticed that when gold and silver are pumping, you're seeing these other metals come off, or not pumping, I should say. And then when gold and silver come off, the other metals pump. There's like this flow. I don't know. I'm just observing. I don't know what it's all about or why. I'm just observing. But here on nickel, right, towards the area of resistance, you could see this chart goes from the bottom left to the upper right. It's in a super strong bull trend. You're looking to accumulate as you come into areas of support. So a couple of things. Right now, if you were looking to get into a long-term position, right, you have support here, you have support over here, and support over here. You also have this resistance. And if we break above that resistance, a test and holding as support also gives an entry opportunity. All right, long-term positioning into nickel. So, Jordan, can you shortly expand on your opinion why Bitcoin to likely will have such an increase in market cap? Alex, so better than that, like on this channel, there's a playlist titled Bitcoin. And if you watch the first 4 or 5 videos, then not shortly expand, but I present why. And again, they're short videos. They're like 10 minutes each. That will give you definitely a strong indication. So as far as books for intermediate traders, I'm sure there are some fantastic books, including the one that I hear for the past 20 years, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. And that's probably the book you're looking for. I've never read it. I have the audiobook. I don't have the paperback. I have the audiobook, and I would like to, but I've never read it. For 20 years, I've been hearing about it. That's probably the one. My favorite books are Remnants of a Stock Operator, the story of Jesse Livermore. I have read it multiple times, and also the Market Wizard books and the new Market Wizard books. I have read those multiple times and will again. Those have nothing to do with trading per se, but they have to do with the mindset of traders. So I love them. Trader Vic, a couple of suggestions also. Fooled by randomness. All right, what else? Copper is way above that $3 level. Let's take a look. Look at this. Copper's getting ready over here. Not only that, it's getting ready here for new yearly highs. Interesting. Do I see a trade? No, I don't see a trade. So if you're looking, we're watching this channel breakout over there. I always, as you know, buying off the support of that bullish pattern over there, triangle I like. And I like the breakout. Here was the breakout, the retest, resumption off right over there. Just a little below where market is. And then you could also see coming into the resistance and then also another retest of that. Do not buy here. Do not ever chase price. Do not chase price. But just interesting to observe here at the moment. Square continues just always to go up. Square just continues always to go up. What else are we looking at over here? Interesting to note, right? You saw gold this morning, pre-market New York coming into that resistance over there, has since been rejected. Okay, again, we're getting close to a possible breakout, and that could change by the end of the week or 48 hours from now. We could be getting close to a possible breakdown, But while we're in this consolidation period, there's no entry. Now, some people, earlier today it was like, well, but you're more neutral than you are anything else. Yeah, of course. That's how you win. That's how you win. You do your analysis until something's clear, and then you get in. You don't take trades and then start analyzing the market. Yeah, everyone, Zulu family, thanks for being here this morning. Good session where we've covered a lot of ground. 500 likes, that's awesome. I would recommend the Daily Trading Coach by Brett Steinberger. It really goes deep and clear about a trader psychology. All books on trader psychology are super important. I skimmed through a PDF of the Daily Trading Coach. So when you said that, that was something that was familiar. Yeah, that's it, Strawberry 2. We're going to call it a session because we covered all the ground we needed to cover today. Great session. Giles, thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. So we'll do it again tomorrow. By the way, this afternoon's update is going to be a little bit later than normal. I don't know what time it is. It's normally done by 5 p.m. Eastern time, right? I'm going to have to say that I'm going to try to get it done by 6 p.m. Eastern time. And I don't know that it'll be for sure, but the latest I'm going to try to get it up will be by 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see what I could do. I'll try my best, that's for sure. But it will be a little bit late today. Absolutely. Thanks for thanking me, man. For real. Thanks, because that's what helps build me up. That's what gives me more inspired. So thank you for that. You got it, everyone. My pleasure. There you go, Darren. That's a little bit of so important though. So important, Darren. I'm glad you picked up on that. That's a great lesson. Catalyst for a market dump would be Pelosi saying there's no deal. You could easily see a dump come in. By the way, Ethereum looks awesome here. Why do I say it looks awesome? Right? We had the big trend line break over here. We then took out the resistance, tested that resistance, and then you see this little bull flag that developed, broke out, retested it, and are now resuming off of it. So Ethereum looks good there. Get above 390, and I think Ethereum starts flying. There's a link in the description below from my Twitter page. You just go ahead and look in the description, and you'll see the link from my Twitter. Thank you, brother. Well, everyone in Conquering the Markets does. We only trade during London. That's an edge. That's crucial, right? Including the New York overlap. But Rod, for sure, that's a Conquering the Markets pro tip right there. Thank you, Reggie. Have a beautiful week. Have a beautiful day as well, brother. Johnny, Utah. It's okay. Equities could crash. We're neutral on them. Don't worry about it. And they're not crashing. Sebastian, they're not crashing. They're coming off right now. They could turn negative. That's why we're neutral. I'm not looking to go long. I'm not looking to go short. Alex. Tomorrow we'll be traveling. Thank you, Daniel. We'll do tomorrow morning's live session, though. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Alvaro, everyone. And I will definitely be sending an update a little bit late today. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Thanks for this session. I'll talk to you soon.